going to be.
Hi, everyone. Dr. Kumar, can we just do a voice check?
Where are you going to go?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Hi, everyone. We're going to start a presentation now. Since it's noon. So I want to welcome everybody. Welcome everybody to the Lunch and Learn. Thank you so much for coming. We have Dr. Kumar here online, and he's presenting from very far away. So what we're going to do is we're going to first just do a couple of introductions. I want to introduce myself. I'm Maureen Pugh. I'm the program manager here at bwtech. We run this series of lunch and learns to provide information to our clients, our tenants, and our partners and sponsors about information that we think will help them along their entrepreneurial journey, their business journey. So hopefully this will be very valuable information for you. First, what I'd like to do is I'd like to have you all introduce yourselves. If you could just give your name and maybe a very brief description of your company, and then what exactly you'd like to get out of this lunch and learn. Do you want to start with you?
Sure. Dr. Kumar, hello everybody. My name is Kim. I just recently started a company called Tech Consulting LLC. I'm currently in bwtech South, and working with a current established business called RF Safety Lab. I'm doing audio engineering, providing a technical solution for hearing aid compatibility for mobile handsets. And so that's the area that I'm in. I'm excited to be here, willing to learn. The business is new to me, and I just want to gather as much information as possible and take that to hopefully something that I can translate to success. So thank you.
So hi, Dr. Kumar, and hi, everyone. My name is Mohammed Usman Gani. I go by Usman. I'm a faculty in the Information Systems Department here at UMBC. And my core research is in causal AI. So where I develop models to understand cause and effect rather than just looking at correlation. And main applications of my research include healthcare and climate prediction. And the reason reason for me to attend this is I'm submitting MII, and also I have a couple of ideas, so I want to learn, and I'm excited to be here and learn. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and hello, Dr. Kumar. It's wonderful to be here this afternoon. My name is Dr. Diane Grove, and I have a small cyber business here at BW North. And my whole focus on the my business is really cybersecurity, privacy, and also the mixture of AI with that. And so I'm mixing a lot of different technologies together, but really the foundation is cybersecurity, because we still need cybersecurity. I'm so excited to be here to meet with all of you. Thank you for this time. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ray, and I'm CEO of company Settlemix Technology, and we have been here for quite many years. We work in gene and cell therapy field, and majorly we produce the gene delivery, vector, and we provide reagent, and we develop a new technology. I'm really, for the bio research side, and to serve the biotech and the pharmaceutical company. And I'm here interested to learn the anything related how to bring the idea and the product from live to market. Yeah, thank you.
My name is Ben Brodell. I'm the CEO of Athena Enzyme Systems. We are a laboratory supply company that specializes in manufacturing cell culture media. So I personally specialize in custom manufacturing and contract manufacturing. So we don't do research and development anymore right now. We're focusing on adding new products through licensing agreements. And so I'm interested in understanding the licensing process and how to assess markets in that from that angle. And just as a caveat, I have something going on in my lab, and I need to run out a few times, so pardon me if I disappeared.
I am Kathleen Toronto, co-founder and president of Nator. We make sulfur compounds using fermentation instead of the petrochemicals that are typically used. And our first product is taurine, and we're just in a pilot scale stage. And the reason I'm here today is to learn more about how to make that transition and getting the products into the market, and what can help me to do so.
Hello, everyone. I'm David Fink. I'm an entrepreneur in residence here at bwtech South. And also I'm a site monitor at UMBC for the Maryland Innovation Mission. So focus mostly on life sciences, but I'm a chemical engineer, but more biomedical engineer than chemical. And I'm help companies, which I can.
Hi, everyone. I'm Maggie McDonough. I sort of wear two hats. Hat number one is I work as the Chief Innovation Officer at the Baltimore Development Corporation, which is Mayor Scott's economic development arm. So we're focused on bringing businesses into the city, supporting startups, et cetera. My other hat is Executive Director of the Emerging Technology Center, which is wholly owned by Baltimore Development Corporation, but which is specifically focused on supporting early stage tech companies in high growth, high value sectors. To date, almost all of our focus has been in life sciences and biotechnology. In the coming year, we are going to be expanding that into other areas of technology, including cybersecurity, aerospace technology, port technology, port supply chain logistics type of technology. So I'm really here just to start learning. I've been a Maryland resident since '99, but I'm new to the Baltimore scene, so I'm trying to understand more about the ecosystem here. And, as ever, our goal is to find, sort of additional portfolio companies to invest in.
Wonderful. We do have a couple of people because our speaker was traveling and was caught out of the country. So we do have people online, including a UMBC faculty. Ramona, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, Happy New Year, everyone. My name is Ramanavin Jamuri. I'm an associate professor in computer science and electrical engineering. I also run a center called BRAIN, which is building reliable advances and innovations for neurotechnologies. My research is in brain-computer interfaces, robotics, and neurotechnologies. And I think I've met Susheel a couple of times. I think we spoke, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, great to be here. Thank you.
Wonderful. Margie Koda, our Director of Entrepreneurial Services, is joining us online as well because she's a little under the weather. I wasn't sure if she wanted to introduce herself too.
Hey, thanks, Maureen. I appreciate that. Yeah, my voice is a little bit shaky right now. So thank you for the bwtech clients that have shown up. It's, again, the A team that's there. Ray, it's good to hear your voice. I haven't talked to you in a while. And Ramona, thanks for joining us online. Maggie, thank you for joining us. We're looking forward to working with you and Mayor Scott's office, as well as the other groups in the city. So we look forward to collaborating with you more. And folks, I can't tell you how awesome it is to have Susheel with us. Even though he's online, you will find that this is somebody who has a lot of great experience, and that will really be able to share a lot of his expertise with us. And we hope to bring him on board and get he and his team involved with us a lot more. So Susheel, thanks for being here today, along with your partner in the room.
Oh, yes, and I forgot your partner in the room. Sorry, Mahi, did you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you very much. My name is Mahesh. You can call me Mahi, for convenience sake. But I'm associating Advan Healthcare. I'm a colleague of Dr. Susheel Kumar. I'm representing Advan Healthcare and Life Sciences. So Advan is a technology development platform. So we call it as a venture village. We bring in industry experts, engineers, scientists to help support the startups and innovation, guiding, taking the journey path and walk with the startup journey or from lab to conversion to the real world application. So, Advan help support in making you feel comfortable in taking the stewardship of different verticals like regulatory navigation, clinical trials, CRO, CDMO, software development. So all the path that every part of every difficulty times and Advan will help support to bring in the expertise as a part of the ecosystem. So it's a cost effective and more economic process of bringing the journey from the lab to the market. Thank you very much to be part of all here.
Thank you, Mahi. Appreciate that. So now I have, your bio is very long and it's.
You can short it out. I'll walk it through anyway. So you can say whatever, Maureen, I'll probably be
You
increasing
have,
myself.
So Dr. Kumar, he's a neuroscientist, entrepreneur, and innovation strategist, and he's dedicated to bridging the gap between scientific discovery and real-world application. He has a PhD in neuroscience, a postdoctoral research fellowship at NIH. He's been the technology transfer ambassador at the National Cancer Institute. And actually, there's so much here. I don't want to take away from your presentation, but he has a wonderful and CV here. So he's currently the founder and CEO, as Mani mentioned, of Advent Healthcare and Life Sciences, and it's a venture village platform combining a team of industry, PhD, MBAs, and trusted partners, looking to empower startups, accelerators, incubators, and universities to advance healthcare, biotech, and digital health innovations from ideation to market. So without further ado, welcome and thank you. We look forward to hearing from you.
Thanks a lot, Maureen. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, bwtech, for having me. Good afternoon, everyone. And I'm really sorry I can't be there in person. This has been a very hectic couple of weeks. I've been trying to get something off the ground in India as well. So I had to come here and I'm stuck. Unfortunately, travel things happen. I learned that in a very, whatever way you can call it. So let me begin. It was amazing to hear from everyone. So I'll try to keep my talk relevant. So thanks, Maureen, for asking everyone to introduce so that I have a better idea of what I can touch on, what I should express more on. So before we begin, let me go with why you ought to hear me. That's the biggest question, right? Sushil, everybody like Maureen said nice things about me. Thank you a lot. Marjorie said nice things. So let me begin. What about how I started my journey? So I did all my bachelor's, master's from India. I was at ISA Pune, and NCL. Then I was at Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore for 2 years, doing neuroscience research. Initially thought, let me understand what research is. Then went on to do my PhD from Belgium in electrophysiology, fMRI, non-human primate work, trying to understand visual perception and learning. From there, I said, okay, let me do it further. Like every scientist who gets into the field of science thinks about, okay, PhD, postdoc, professorship, that's the path that I was thinking about. So for the next one, postdoc, I went to NIH. I was at National Institute of Mental Health. Worked there for 4 years as a postdoctoral fellow. Then I transitioned into research fellowship. During this time, COVID was around. Things were not going as we supposed to be, and like most scientists, like you most of you here in the room, so that you need publish or perish kind of a role, right? So some of my projects didn't turn out as good as I was expecting, frankly speaking. So I was trying to understand what happens, what all other career choices do I have, like what else I can do with science related stuff. So luckily around that time there was something called I could get into National Cancer Institute Tech Transfer Office. So I was there for a year. So while I was there, I kind of understood, like, little bit of what happens when there's a new technology that comes in, like when somebody invents, what happens to it, like basically. Because for me, for 14 years of research I did, I had no clue. Like I was just a bench scientist doing research, and I thought there is a well-oiled machinery. You take something, you invent something, and there are people who are ready to take it to market. That was what whole I thought. And apparently that is not true. So in the same time, I was also working as a science advisor for Johns Hopkins University. Is one of the they have a discovery to market program, course. I was helping out as a science advisor there. This is when I was like, okay, let me get into this tech transfer thing. Like it sounds interesting. Like for me, it was very important because this was when I realized a lot of research doesn't get to market. So why does it happen? What are the people behind? So from there, to understand that, I went to UT Southwest Medical Center's tech transfer office. I was there for an year there, year and a half. So there I kept in, like, I had a bunch of departments that I had to cater, around 40 of them. I helped commercialize what you call therapeutics, diagnostics, software, copyrighted material, and all these things. So in a way, it gave me an idea of what happens, like, how you do it, like who are the players in the back end. And this is what I learned during my UT Southwestern days. And I ran an accelerator program as well in AI in healthcare and life sciences. So all these things while doing, I realized I could do it more. But it's an ambition, like every startup, everyone comes up, and I was like, okay, let me help everyone else as well. So that's when the idea of Advan came in. Advan literally means the right path, the right way to get like anything that you want to do. So it's a Sanskrit and a Pali word. So that's when I started this company, moved to Boston, helped out with a couple of accelerators. I also was part of like a global head of marketing for a AI company. Uh, then from there, I'm now traveling around to Europe, trying to set a base in Europe and India, and like trying to do this US, Europe, India kind of thing, trying to bridge the gap from where what all I've seen in the past 3 years of my business journey of science and 14 years of research, given me some kind of very areas which I thought I need to touch upon, which I wanted to build. So I'll walk you through them one by one. Please let me know if I'm talking a bit faster or something. I'm ready to pause, and if anyone has an urgent question, please do. I think I can hear you all from the mic, so I can stop and I can respond, or else we can also have a conversation post this my lecture as post my presentation as well, so that I'm open. This is more going to be me trying to understand what you need, because most of the information that I'm going to give, you must know there are verticals that you're going to be talking about. These days, ChatGPT is also doing a very amazing job of giving you just basics, but then that basics and the whole information that you get is not something that translates exactly in the natural environment, like in the market space. I'll walk you through that as well. So, disclaimer, this is just a guidance. Don't take it as it's not exhaustive, it's not a legal, financial, or regulatory advice directly coming from this presentation. Please take it with pinch of salt. It might not fit directly to you. So we are here to understand that. And then I'm going to give a broad eye, like, eagle, like a 30-foot or a 300-feet view of what happens, basically, so that you understand more or less where things can fit in, some things you might have missed, some things you might have already started. So all these things will come in play. Basically, what I'm trying to achieve from today's talk is, if and when an invention or discovery is done in a university, how does it reach people? This is an AI generated image. Most of the images and the videos in this presentation are AI generated, just as an I wanted to let you know in advance. So basically, if you can break out, uh, so uh, we have resources center, if you can break out like simply in thing as in like you have a R&D area, you have then resources, then you have things to go into people. So what exactly happens when R&D discovery? Like, most of you know already, it's a repetition, but let me just walk you through. Uh, Something is invented. What happens next? Most of us, like I was the same person. I would go through this idea phase, I would do research, what next, and then I would just publish it, thinking, putting in I would put it in mostly what you call discussion, so in the paper, saying this is going to cure something or this is going to help make BCIs and stuff like that, bring computer interfaces, and it's going to help in that part or something. But then who is that person who's going to take this idea and bring it to market? That is the biggest challenge that I didn't know. Like when I was doing research, only few of these people, few inventors like you decide on one fine day, okay, enough is enough. I don't see this product in the market. I don't see my ideas coming in the market. So let me be that person who brings it to market. So most of you have taken that jump, leap of faith. Congratulations on it. It's one of the biggest steps that anybody takes. And then there are so many things around it. Most of you know, but let me walk you through them as well. So what does the ecosystem look like? The videos don't have any audio, so it's okay. I'll just present it as is. So the ecosystem, if you see, you have first you have a tech transfer office, then you have industries, pharma industry that come in. You have CRO, CDMOs, CMOs. Then you have maker spaces where you can make stuff. Then you have resources complexes in government agencies, IT firms, regulatory firms, and then communication and media firms, IP, VCs, angel investors, bank. With all these resources, you are supposed to finally reach people, like the hospital system or the people. That's the end goal of all of this. So when this is happening, let me just walk you through the basic architecture where probably you're right now in an incubator space. Inventions come through, they go through a tech transfer office, usually from a university setting. And then someone, a technology transfer manager or a you call business development manager, they come in different hats, they wear different hats. They decide, first gatekeepers they are, decide what happens to the technology. And then you decide after that whether you form a startup. And then when you have a startup, then how else you're going to develop your technology? Either you use, if it's devices, then you use all the fabrication design or a CMO or a, you know, uh, IT firm to integrate your technology into a device. These things, or if it's a for example, if it's a therapeutic or diagnostic, you choose a pharma route to bring it to people. Basically, the idea is to reach pharmacies or hospitals or the reach people directly. That's the whole point of, like, translation. This has been happening because of, like, let me first explain to you what tech transfer is. Most of you know already. It's basically trying to move the technologies from lab to market. And this has been possible by Bayh-Dole Act in US, because that before that, most of the, like whenever it's a federally funded, then the federal government had some rights in the technologies. It would take some cut in it. So that's when they decided, okay, universities can, or the inventors can, from federal non-delivery funding, when you develop something, it's still yours. You can still go ahead. So this built up the tech transfer offices. So this is the first basic gatekeeper, you can say. A tech transfer office or a technology development office or any kind of office for any institution is like that controls your intellectual property. That's your first gatekeeper. How does this work out? Licensing and startup. First things first, when you invent something, the idea is the technology managers, they're supposed to understand your technology, understand the market space. They have to understand what is going on in the field in that area. They need to know all the connections in the industry so that they can talk to those people and understand where they can situate your technology. If they find some persons, for example, one of you wants to license some technologies from universities. So if you are connected to some of these university tech transfer managers, then they would advise you, okay, we have these technologies, would you want to put it in your company? So industry, so either directly license it, then the inventor can focus on something else. At this point, the inventor need not think of developing it further, there, whatever stage it is. Sometimes most of the technologies are in TRL levels, readiness levels, they're called. It's a NASA term, basically meaning one, they are from 1 to 9. One meaning very early idea phase till fourth is when you try to form a startup, wherein you have a point of a proof of concept or an MVP. And then from there, fifth or sixth is when you start asking for money from seed funds. And then eighth or ninth is when you're like in the market. So basically, tech transfer managers have to understand the situation of where you're situated, and then decide and tell you whether it's easier for you to go through a license route, or you have to have a startup. And once you have a startup, they'll advise you whether you can go to an incubator or a venture studio or an accelerator. Venture studios are basically, so you are at an incubator already, you understand, they incubate you. Venture studios are a secondary kind of people who come as co-founders. So they have bunch of money as well, they have bunch of resources, they have bunch of people like fractional CEOs, CFOs, marketing people, they have connections to the labs, they have VCs in themselves, they fund themselves, so they come and attached with you as co-founder, and they'll de-risk the technology so that they can go to the next level, whatever level it is. It's like if you're in early lab phase, if they like your technology, they'll take you till the next phase wherein you are coming for a seed round or a de-risk round wherein you're in animal studies, or if you are doing toxicity studies, or later on if some they can bring you to a stage wherein you're easily you have an exit plan wherein a big pharma can come and buy you out, stuff like that. Then you have accelerators basically what they do is you already have some level of expertise with your proof of concept or whatever your product is, and then you are looking for connections to or ideas wherein you know your place wherein you need like 3 to 3 months to go to the next level. Find them those network like mass challenge wherein you can connect to the people all over the Boston network, or here at where people are going to help you out. So those connections are given in accelerators, and accelerators are quick. They're mostly from anywhere from 1 month to 3 months or maximum 6 months. You know, they just want to accelerate. They want to push you out basically. So these are the two options that a couple of options that a tech transfer manager would tell you, like a technology manager would tell you whether you need to go through an industry route or through a startup route. So this is just a basic information, but the problem is the reality. Like everyone else now in the room might have experienced this, and it could also be the thing even at BW Tech, because you would have Maureen and Marjorie and couple of others like technology managers at this stage, you can call them. So they would have to cater to all these people. Like there's so many of them. Even in the best institutions like Harvard or MIT that are known for their big, huge tech transfer offices, their strength in their tech transfer office is not more than 20. Where I was, UT Southwestern, the number of PhDs we had were 4 or 5 at one point for catering for 3,000 researchers. So the the whole problem here is the bottleneck where why technologies don't come to market, as you all know, is lack of technology managers who evaluate and help you guide it through. I mean, even in the tech transfer offices and other places, they tell you what needs to be done. They cannot walk that path with you because of a lot of issues also, like the role issues, the government funding, the kind of role they have been given in a university setting. They cannot work for a private company, so stuff like that. So they will tell you what you need for team building, product development, technology development, funding, business plan, go to market, access things. So the onus is also on them to know these things for your technology and also help you take this technology further. So they would just advise you, and then it's left on you to go hunt these resources, right? Like who am I going to build my team with? Where am I going to go? Which CRO I'm going to go? Which CDMO I'm going to go? Which manufacturing unit, the prototyping unit. So all this is onus is on the inventor again. So it's a tough path. I trust me, I've been living this entrepreneur life since the past 2 years now, with like quitting my 9 to 5 job 1.5 years, and it is tough. You get so many highs, so many lows. You get the one meeting with some person who's promising you the moon and you aim for the star and then all of a sudden you get nothing. So these kind of things will always keep happening here. So next, after this, this is one of the reality gaps. Few more reality checks that challenges that faculty entrepreneurs have is like institutional mismanagement, because most of the institutions don't reward entrepreneurship. You get by with just publishing and getting your papers in and getting the tenure, and once you're there you apply for your grants and then you can survive. You don't need to do this most of the time. It's mostly when you have chosen, it's the thing that okay, this doesn't exist, let me do it. It's that point wherein things matter. And that the problem with also this kind of translation is you ought to do some cookie cutter experiments which are not very high, very high thought provoking. So those need to be done too. You have to handle people. So those kind of issues exist. You have time and role constraints. You need teaching and everything. You also have cultural support gaps. There are. Luckily, Maureen and Marjorie and BWTech is amazing in bringing this out. The culture being good. So these ways, some of the challenges is so from here, when you are already here, the bigger question comes in now is you have formed a startup. Why and how? You have a startup, probably most of you already have in the room, and then you must have done this. I hope you have. For this, you ought to do at least 50 to 100 customer discovery interviews. And there's a very nice NSF I-Core program. Probably some of you have already gone through it, wherein you get to build your value proposition and all of the key ingredients of why you need to have a startup. Like your manager or your someone has told you, the tech manager or someone has told you that okay, you now have a company. Like you have to have a company because there is no one else. There's no one to license your technology anymore. So we have to de-risk it. You're going to go get some money from somewhere, non-dilutive funding. So you have to build this startup. So as a faculty, even me, when I was trying to explain this to someone when after my just entering the tech transfer, it's so overwhelming. Like, like cold calling someone randomly and asking them a bunch of questions for 15-20 minutes and not selling your product. That takes a lot of effort. So, uh, why do you do that? You try to understand what is in the market. You're not selling at this point. You're just trying to validate your presence, whether you should have a startup or not. Simple as that. At this point, you're just like saying, okay, who, if, like, for example, my therapeutic, a cancer drug, is supposed to be in market for that particular molecule. Like a small molecule can be a therapeutic. Why isn't it in the market? If there is, who is doing what in that? So to understand that, you have to keep calling. For an AI product, you need to understand who is going to take my buy my what you call product, whatever it is. So it's people always think the end user. End user is never your customer. You have to figure out who your customer is. So that part. So for the customer discovery, you need to have a to conduct interviews, and where that is where you get to know. All right, we have bunch of people, like right from end user to someone who's decision maker to someone who will give the who's going to buy it from me. So you have to find that person. For example, AI tech, it'll be some in hospitals. You have chief health what do you call information officer. So the chief health information officer, I got to know about this person after going through a team. Like I had a team which I took through NSF's I-Core program, and that's where I realized this is a person who makes decisions in hospital settings, who's going to buy my technology. The end user or the doctor is not the person who is going to use it. He might influence it. I mean, tell that the CHIO, that Chief Health Information Officer, that we need this, and this is the person by selling it. So, but you ought to sell to the person, the right person. So that you only get to know after conducting multiple interviews, talking to multiple people, and asking why doesn't your technology exist so far? What value are you adding to the present thing? Who would be your key partners, key activities, key resources? What cost structure you need to have? What would be your revenue streams? And then you will also tight at this point, at the startup phase, you'll also have to build your team, right? You need a CEO, you need a CFO, see, or someone who can take the CEO, CFO or CEO role, both combined. You need someone who can run around talking to people. Not every scientist is comfortable talking to people. I kind of I like talking to people, so I kind of fit in well in this business part. But a lot of my friends are like, no, talking is not me. They should understand it. I'll send an email. People don't invest in emails. They invest in people. The moment you run out of the building is when you get the traction. So you need someone. If not you, find someone who will do it for you. So, and then you have to find advisors. You have to have mentors. It's going to be a very rough journey. It is a very rough journey. So more than 95 to 99% of startups fail. That's the that's what happens. Couple of them that go on to become big businesses, the rest end up trying, but everybody pushes an envelope to the next level. You need to have also a business plan and exit plan. What do I mean by that? So you're not supposed, like, as an early stage inventor, most of the startups in biotech or healthcare, whatever, like, most of the things that I've seen, you go to a phase wherein you want to be acquired because the big players already have their supply chain and everything sorted out. You are not at that phase to go till there. Sometimes you might have ambitions to do that. Amazing. If you get money, if you can do it, if you are the right person, amazing. Or else you need to find those kind of CEOs. We have early stage CEOs who can run around, do everything, to later stage CEOs who are more of this operational people. So you need to find these kind of plans wherein when are you going to exit? How are you going to make money to till somebody can attract you? So this is what is very important at the very early startup phase. Just to put it in, like, what kind of business canvas model, if you are I was talking about, is what kind of key partners you need, what key activities you would do, what value are you adding, who are your customers, relationships, what channels are you going to use, what revenue streams are you going to use, like, how are you going to get paid, what is the cost of your business. So all these things need to be found out through this customer discovery. And you have multiple ways of doing it, either through NSFI core or through your own time, through your own network. Find right people, find the right connection, ask one person to give you two more connections. So this is how it's done. Let's hope you're done your customer discovery. You're done. You for sure realized, okay, I have the right team, at least couple of people. At this point, you are like 3 or 4 people only. Most of the startups I've seen at this starting early phase are from anywhere from 4 people till 20, 10, 15, not more than 20, because you're still burning a lot of cash. You're still trying to get money from government in the non-dilutive funding. So now the first thing that comes in play is post customer discovery. How do you get started? Most of you have started it already with some pre-seed as well as some non-dilutive funding for sure. uh, and most of you also have realized how it is done through family and friends, because nobody gives you money to start your company online or wherever it is. You have to have the first initial from pocket. You have to spend in. Sometimes some universities help out, sometimes it's through friends and family first round. And you have to already start thinking about is what regulatory strategy you need to understand, like, you have to do, like, in the sense of what kind of experiments, what kind of cookie cutter experiments in terms of toxicology, PK studies, all these things. And regulatory in terms of if it is an AI product, what are we going to do around it? Talk to FDA. You need to have all these pre-meetings, pre-submission meetings, and all these things. So those kind of regulatory strategies, and which CROs to take, where to take, how many animals, how much money you would need, what budget you would need. Along with that, you need to also talk about intellectual property strategies. This happens simultaneously. You should not spend all your time in regulatory strategy and follow that through, and later on realize, okay, my intellectual property isn't that great at this point because that product already exists now. So we have to go back. So you have to have a strategy combined with both your lawyers as well as your regulatory people, telling you what kind of patents you're pursuing, what kind of claims are you going to do, so what kind of product it is going to be. Do you have freedom to sell this product? If has someone already taken this area? So you need to understand that if there is someone, then you have to do an walk around it or design around it or come up with some newer product. So to do that, the product as well as the regulatory strategy go hand in hand, because they are what kind of product it is that will decide your regulatory strategy, and regulatory strategy only is decided by scope of the regulatory strategy. You can figure out what kind of product you can have. So these two things go together. I'll briefly touch both of them. So my idea of today is just to give you a bird's eye view. I'm not going to go in deep. I'm pretty sure you'll have further sessions with each of these people, each of verticals from people from all these verticals, explaining you to each thing in a better coherent way. I'm a scientist, an entrepreneur. I know I've been with these people, so I'm giving you the experience that I have from that angle. I'm not the expert in all of this. Let me just be honest on that part. IP part. So what kind of intellectual property do you have? So right from your trademark meaning your like Nike logo types, you have your company logo. So that to copyrighted material to trade secrets. So you have to understand what you need to protect and how you need to protect it. Most of the time, what I have always been told is like when I not I have been told in the sense when I was a scientist as well, I keep hearing from people as well when I'm in an incubator and accelerator is patents. But patents at the end of the day are just a piece of paper. Literally, sometimes it's just a piece of paper that just gives you a right that, okay, somebody has told me, okay, this you own this idea, but you have to protect it yourself. You have to understand nobody's infringing in it. If someone is infringing in it, you have to take proactive ways to stop it. Or you might be infringing on someone, because getting a patent is way easy. Like not way easy. It's like around 60 to 80% of the time you get your patent through. So that's so high is the rate for getting a patent. But to understand whether you can use that patent to go ahead and have a product is when steps come in. And these are expensive ones. Most of you already know, I guess, that if you want to have in life sciences or in healthcare or any deep tech or in engineering, a patent would cost anywhere from 10,000 US dollars to 150,000 US dollars to maintain and stuff. So it's an expensive route. And over that, you have to understand you need one more thing called freedom to operate. That freedom to operate analysis itself takes around anywhere from 20,000 to $50,000, depending on the features you have for your product. So these are the costs you have to understand. So you have to figure out now itself, do you want to go through a patent route, or you want to have it as a trade secret where you just keep your knowledge with you? Softwares don't most normally don't need patent routes unless it's an amazing algorithm or something that you come up with, because by the time you get patent, the time scales are like anywhere from 4 years to 60 years that you get a patent in. So for that, you can just go through a copyright route. You don't need to have a what you call a patent at that point. So these are some things that I wanted to let you know. And for a patent to come in, it has to have utility, novelty, and non-obviousness. And also recently things are coming wherein you need to have an enablement, meaning someone who can read it. You have to have data that shows you have shown it works, at least some kinds. So these are the couple of things I want to just touch upon intellectual property so that you understand what intellectual property you ought to have. Then again, for regulatory pathways, there's so many of them. Just to highlight a couple of them, you have 501(k) for equivalency, where it's moderate risk. If it's a completely new, you have to go through a de novo or a novel pathway. Then you need pre-market approval. You need to go through innovation. So there are multiple names that are given. So all of these, a very good regulatory expert will advise you. Or these days, I've seen roughly ChatGPT doing a really decent job of telling you what needs to be done with your technology at that point. But then you have to understand that's only when you know what your intellectual property is. You ought to know that this is what you're going to build. If not, then you have to be ready to pivot. So those are the things that are really important at any stage of your development. Doesn't matter what stage of startup you are or what stage of idea stage you are in. Then comes the funding mechanisms. Early stage, you're bootstrapping, literally. It's all funded, self-funded, friends and family in the early stage wherein you can give. So you get non-dilutive funding from government, SBIR, STTR, NIH, NSF, and local government grants. So there you can find also philanthropies will also give you some non-dilutive funding. But after that, you are again coming back to friends and family the very first time, wherein you want to give not more than 5 to 10% of the equity, because this is going to be important. Why? Because the next investors that will come in, who will invest in your company, they don't want the cap, they want to see the cap, like, who are there already. If there's nothing to dilute, like, where will they find money to give it to you? So be careful about it. And so don't go to angel investors and VC firms unless you need to. Try the non-dilutive funding route first. Try till you can survive. That's the best route possible, because then you're not giving any equity to anyone. Angel investors and VC firms will come in, they'll come take equity, they'll direct your. So most of these firms, they want money doubled, tripled, whatever, X times money in a very limited time. So they're not worried, they're not interested in what kind of technology it is. They just want to make sure that they de-risk your technology for till one level. You sell it to some big pharma where it will get, most of the time it gets shelved, and they earn and they get out. So you ought to make sure that the persons you're taking money from, they understand the risk they're getting in, along with the fact that they know what your plans are. You have to be on the driver's seat. Don't let them drive you. Most of the time it gets the other way around. They come in, they become board members because they are giving money. You're stuck. And I had a startup which had to close the shop because the investor had very different ideas and then than the actual inventors. So this happens often. It's not a rare singing, but it's like a matchmaking. So you have to make sure you match well. Don't just take money from everywhere, and don't take money that you don't need. One more thing. Sometimes you get lure of more money coming in. You need $1 million, you take $10 million from an angel investor. You keep your valuation of a company like very high. Around that time, the if you take that $10 million, you have to return the amount of money that you tell them, like, the worth that is. If you cannot find exit plans, you cannot have that. So then again, you're ruined. Then you're in stress. So these things crumble startups too. So be careful what money you're asking and how much you're asking. Just ask what you need. Don't take more than what you don't need. That's an advice I always give. Start building slow, start from scratch, have a big idea, aim big, start small. Like, start one step at a time. Don't scale unless you have to scale. Then the other source of funding, we have corporate ventures and strategic partners. They come in, they take equity. Sometimes these are also like venture studios who come in. You have accelerators and incubators. They also take sometimes equity. Sometimes they don't take equity. They come and help you out with all the resources, mentoring, and all these things. So they can be a good place to go as well. Crowdfunding is also one more space wherein you have places where you can get your technologies funded. Revenue-based financing and loans, these are a bit risky. This happen later on. Don't go in the early phases. Not worth the time, not worth the energy and effort. How do they evaluate you? As simple, because I've had a couple of VC friends as well who tell me what they look for. Basically, they look for is problem statement and solution. Opportunity, it's a it's a game of numbers. Here you can bloat it. I've seen a lot of people bloat the total accessible market or whatever. Everybody knows that, okay, you cannot achieve all of it. So if you achieve, what is your nearest obtainable market? So that's what they look for. Do you have a very good business model or not? Like the business model of like your channels, your value proposition, you have revenue streams you have thought of, your customers you have thought of, everything. So they look for that. Then they see sorry, please excuse me. So they see if your IP is very well protected, what kind of things they have, because that's the only thing that they can bet on, right? They're going to bet on something, right? So somebody wants to build a house, like it's like something they want to build in. So you need to know whether you own something that you can build on, and how easy is the design around. or how easy can someone copy? If somebody can copy your technology very easily, and if it is, they can add something to you and have a design around it, then you have very low chances of getting it to the VC level, because then everybody knows they'll invest, but at the moment it's in market, someone else is going to take it off. So that's also something that you have to keep looking at it. If you're early in the market, you are the only player, awesome, but the rest will also come in play. Team and story is also important. What kind of team you have? This is the most important part, is what I would say. People invest in people. Ideas are good. Ideas are diamond dozen. Every university works on similar ideas that you work on. Every place, every incubator has, like a bio incubator has some similar idea. So how are things getting funded? Things get funded because they look at the inventor, they look at the team, they see if somebody is there for a business development, somebody can talk to people, somebody is like, okay, manageable, someone who can we can talk to and understand. So that is very important. It's not just like a science lab wherein you hire the right scientist or the right technician and they'll just they'll just solve your problem. Here it is more of, who are these people who are going to run around with your idea? If and the story, most of the investors invest in a story. They always want to give money to people who are more or less have a personal connection to it. Then you have a profound way of bringing it, like you have a need, so they always you hit. So when you're talking to these investors, you always strike them in a, don't always sell it, show them. They always say, like, show them, and show and don't tell kind of a thing, wherein you're just trying to tell, okay, I'm going to inventor mentality. Most scientists I've seen, they just keep data dumping. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. People get bored in 20 seconds, like half an hour maximum. So you want to hook that person up. So a story, a good story, why it is you, why is that technology important to you, and why do you want to bring it to market? So that is one of the major factors that helps anyone fund you. And risk assessment is also done. These are the back end. Before them anybody gives you money, they'll anyway do all of these things, risk assessment and everything. But the biggest question you have to understand is team. Human capital is the biggest capital that you would have in growing from any stage to the next stage. And then once you're there, next is figuring it out how to do it next. Like, if it's a device, go to these places. If it's a chemical or pharmaceutical, diagnostics, therapeutics, go through CROs, clinical research organizations, clean rooms, CDMOs. It's very important that you figure out the right places for you. The reason being, each of these places is expensive, way expensive. You cannot redo stuff that expensive, because you get one shot. Really, sometimes you don't have so much money left. You cannot keep redoing stuff. So for that very reason, you have to understand whom do you go for what reason. Regulatory firms, IP firms. I was in tech transfer. My IP lawyer should always say file, file, file. You have to sit back and think, is that really necessary? The reason being, for them, the incentive is to file. For you, it is not. For you, you will run out of cash. You don't have so much of money. Regulatory people also are very expensive. Each meeting costs you anywhere from $500 to whatever, you know. So you need to understand, like, what kind of things help you can get from them. I saw now these days any technology and every technology is integrated with some software part to it most of the time. Like, therapeutics need not, but most of the AI devices and other things come with. You need to know which is the right place where you can get things done efficiently, because there's so many firms in the market, so many people who will help you do it. They're even right from your Fiverr, you know, gig people who will do it for on, like, on the side, to actual firms of 200-300 people who will do it in an enterprise version. So you have to understand your needs. You have to understand also this, how do you communicate, multimedia and communication. This is very important. People will take it very lightly, but right from your pitch deck to your storytelling is very important. If you don't have that, well, there's no story to tell, there's no one to buy it. You have to sell a story. At this point, whatever your product is, you're selling a story. You're not selling your product at early stages. because the product is not there yet. You're building it. So to build the product, you have to sell a story. You have to sell it on like fancy, like no, understandable way. Not in a fancy way, mostly understandable way, which will, you know, the person going about like in funder or the developer or whoever it is coming in with you has to have this idea that okay, I'm solving this big problem. Even though my therapeutic will go till that far, the big picture, and that is the story. And why you're solving it, because you have some kind of reason for it, right? From your family reasons to your need, you see in it, society needs it, things are bad, somebody has to do it. So that's where the communication comes in, and this is very important. uh, right after that, like this is mostly for therapists, and you ought to understand toxicity studies. You have to understand good manufacturing practices before you can go ahead. So these are all expensive places, and I think now I guess I have given you a rough idea of what needs to be done. Individually, I haven't gone through each of these sections because it's beyond the scope of this talk. I just wanted to give you a feeling of how it took me as a scientist to understand this place, more or less, and what it would take for you if you are in an early stage to bring your product to market. So, with this, I would like to tell about Mahesh has already mentioned about Advan. So, what I was trying to do is that I was a scientist. I didn't understand what happens beyond the thing. I didn't want to know. Then I went to tech transfer. I learned a little bit things wherein I realized, okay, we need to have IP people, we need to have regulatory people, we need to have all these people, wherein we need a village for an idea, right? So I would always advise my support, like, clients, for example, those clients for researchers and inventors, right? I would advise in startups, I would advise them, go to this person, but I can only suggest you to go to that place. Ask around. Go, you need an IP lawyer now, like we'll help you with something, but once you have a startup, it's your deal. Figure it out. Figure out the commercialization pathway. Go where you can get your HIPAA and your software developed done. So then I realized, why do we have to send them? Why don't we get the venture village to the idea? So that's the main idea wherein the start of Advan came in, wherein I thought, let's build a venture village first. Let's bring all these verticals, which I'm not an expert in. So I knew whom to bring in. I brought in all the experts from all most of the verticals that I know are needed for any idea to bring to market. And then I put them in like one platform. And whenever a startup idea or startup or a early stage inventor comes in, we sit together, we talk about all of the needs that they have, and then we figure out the best possible way. And I, being a scientist, I've realized if you go to a regulatory person directly or an IP person directly, they'll fleece you. This happened to a couple of my colleagues. So then I realized, okay, we need to have like a friendly face that can be an intermediate connector. And that's when I built this Advan. And this is my contact information. And I would thank you very much for your patient listening. And I'm open for questions and I'm happy to learn from your needs. So today I want to understand what your needs are and how best we can help, or else what kind of things are you expecting, or if you have any questions about the things that I've spoken, happy to share ideas on that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kumar. I think I'm going to put my video on because it's all going through here. So I don't know I don't know. I did it twice. Whether that will show people or whether that's just
I think if you
awkward.
take off your background, I think it'll be good. I can
Oh
see
my
people.
gosh. That's okay. Well, as I work on that, why don't we not pause? Do people have any questions? Yeah. Do people have any questions that they want to ask?
So I have a quick question. So thanks so much for the presentation. It was definitely insightful. So for your company, like what kind of, you mentioned the services, like how exactly it works? Like as in, let's say I bring some ideas or I bring let's say, an early stage product,
Mhm.
then how exactly it works? Like, is it some kind of fee-based, equity-based? How exactly?
So I would have loved to be equity based, but I'm not that rich yet. We are still early. So we are not a venture studio model. We do fee for service model. So basically what happens is whenever an idea or someone comes with a question, we sit around, we have like an intake things wherein we try to understand everything that you are at that point, and then come up with solutions that resonate with what you need to do. Right, we're not going to say okay you need a particular service only. We have those kind of people as well, but mostly the plan is we sit, sometimes people don't even know what they don't know, and I also am not an expert, so I bring in a bunch of experts, like we are like bunch of PhDs, industry experts, and everyone. We sit around, decide, discuss what needs to be done on that and what can be done on that, and then we go back to the company or the startup and say okay these are the things that will help you do this, then you might go to the next level. And that's where our expertise is. And in all honesty, I have resources in US and also in India. So that most of the resources are like, if you want to get stuff done in US, you have US counterparts will be that pricing. And the other part is in India, wherein you have the Indian similar parts. And I was in India for like 4 months last year. This year also 2 months I've been here. So all to build a network of people who can be the resources. So the best people always are scared. When I was in US as well, I was scared. Like most of the websites, or there's nothing behind the website, right? Videos and stuff are still there's no connection. Only big pharma has this network wherein they can get things done efficiently through their big pharma network, which they can afford to send couple of people to hunt the resources. So I did that hunting, made brick and mortar, went to brick and mortar places, built those things, and bought those people on my platform, so that you have an fighting chance of survival. When in early stage, startups don't have money. Like they have very limited amount of money to burn. And how do you burn it matters a lot. If you spend that money on IP and regulatory, you don't have money to do any animal experiments or tox studies. Frankly speaking, that's the reality. So where do you do that? If you want to do it in US, yes, there are places in US who are in our network who will help you do it in the most cost effective way. If you feel like it's okay, I can do it in India and doesn't cost me much, with even with the tariffs still way below, and we can still get it done, so that I can go to the next level when I can get it done in US better. So all of those things we decide and discuss, and we give you all the options. Basically, that's how our model works at this point. We'll evolve probably later when we have enough cash, we have enough investors in our company, then we'll become like the venture studio model wherein we'll drive it with you. But at this point, we're not there yet.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you for the asking questions.
Did anyone have like a particular problem that they, obviously not too in depth, but if you have something that you want to ask right now, what would be some particular challenge?
Sven, you have something to solve.
I do. You can see I have a question in my head. Yeah, so my current issue is that I'm licensing. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
I can.
So I'm licensing or entering into an NDA contract to start the discussion process for licensing
Mhm.
product that would be sold on the market. And it's a simple reagent. It's not anything like a major license. It's just something I'm going to have the rights to manufacture a patented product and sell it on the market.
Mhm.
So in order to discuss the opportunity, I have to sign a very strict one-way NDA with the owner of the patent.
So
Self, and I don't blame them for having a very strict NDA, but in order to actually license the product,
Mhm.
the NDA itself is now in conflict. Like the structure of
Thank you.
the NDA conflicts with my ability to execute a licensing deal. Um, Do you think, like, is it common for an NDA
There's going to be
to
space down there.
be, I guess, canceled or, what do you call it? Ended before the licensing process happens? Is that common? Or
No.
does every single contract need to be totally, congruent with the entire potential process?
So I'll tell you through my experience. Here again, saying it through my experience as a tech transfer person, I was there in that role for 2.5 years, where we were helping out technologies from the university being licensed to the company like yours. So what normally happens is an NDA is little bit broader. It might look intrusive or it might look too much, but it's morely to cover, like if we tell you the thing, you're not going to just take it and run away.
Yeah.
That's the scary that's the scary part of that part. So that's a trust-based thing. So the person you're trying to get, so if it is too intrusive, make it go through a lawyer, I would say, to make sure that you keep changing it, or else happy to help somewhere. Sometime it's okay, but I'll tell you what the process would be. So once you have your NDA set in, next comes as negotiation part. That's going to drag you for a couple of weeks to months if they're not your friends and you're ready to sell you already. Uh, each and every term they would want to protect, wherein you can go through either the royalty way, right? You can upfront some money, royalty some money, that kind of role. But in all of this, everybody wants to make the best out of them. In a negotiating table, person who opens their mouth first loses, happens. But as a company, you would have to do that. They'll come up with their numbers. You'll have to come up with your numbers. But an NDA being nullified is not that common. I haven't seen that happen in my 3 years of experience. Mostly the reason being, even though NDA covers a lot of things, it will cover a very huge part. There will be a section in it which says the things that are exchanged between both of us have to be done only within yourself. So the conflict you're talking about is when you're trying to sell it, then you cannot sell it, right? But that becomes a product, right? At that point, you are having a license agreement, the other than an NDA. So in a license agreement, you will have a proper language which says this is the product that you're going to license. You're not going to license the know-how out of it, whatever it is. You're not licensing the know-how. The only the product you're licensing to you, that licensing the product to you, and that product you're selling or whatever you're giving it to your next customers or your whatever you're doing in your business model. So those people are going to just take it as is. They cannot reverse engineer it. The same thing that like the license agreement would have this language wherein whatever the restrictions they're putting in, you'll put that on the your customers. I mean, they cannot reverse engineer or design around some of it. Like that would be the language in an whatever license agreement. So in theory, even though it's a strict NDA, doesn't really mean much till you get a licensing agreement. NDAs are just to talk, just to begin the conversation. Most Mostly they don't ask for such a strict. Most universities and most institutions, most people have a standard template. Look for it. If not, Autumn would have it or Maureen would like check and compare with it. If it doesn't make sense, if there's still too much in it, if they're asking too much, you can always fight in the NDA time itself, like saying how many years you want to have that NDA in, like for an year or 2 years or indefinitely. Maximum use it for 2 years. Don't use it for more. Like and tech when you're having an NDA for that, and then have terms in it which make sure that if you independently come up with it someone else, then it should not be your problem. All these things will be there in that. Fight these terms out, and then once you're set with those terms, the license agreement will be a novel experience in itself. It will not hamper your NDA or NDAs. Don't worry about it much unless you are doing something nasty about the technology, like taking their know-how and selling it off. Till that time, nothing will happen to you. If that's not the case, when you're talking about the technology, but make sure that it also covers in the NDA that the knowledge that you already have is yours. That's the standard language in it. Like the IP that you already own or you're generating is yours. This is independent. It's not that you take it from them and you know that they're also doing it, but you're also doing it, then both don't get clashed there. So that's a good way of going through it. And it will not, in my opinion, don't take it as legally, go through a lawyer, but it should not hurt your licensing agreement if you're not reached there yet. Don't, first step is NDA. NDA is like the norm. You might have known this by now. So just go about it. If that person is making you suffer so much for an NDA, they're going to make you suffer even more for your license agreement. So understand that part as well.
Okay. Can the license agreement itself kind of like nullify certain aspects of the NDA?
So license agreement, so NDA is know-how, right? License agreement is for the product. You can sell a product,
Okay.
right? License is mostly for like something that you have, like how it is built is not the concern. NDA is mostly for the know-how of how it is built and where it will go. Like,
So I have a question about within licensing, the part of the I guess trade secret information is manufacturing process. And I've already looked at the patent and I already have my own way of manufacturing exactly what this product is. Do I have a way to like prove that I already have advanced knowledge and technical knowledge how to manufacture the products, even though they're claiming that it's a trade secret? But I've been
okay, I'll tell you now. So they have built a product and they have patented it. So it's public now. The patent publication is up public, I hope. Is that what you're saying?
yeah. So the formulation itself is public knowledge, but it has advanced solubility requirements based on the chemicals that are in this formulation. I've been manufacturing specialized culture media for 11 years now, and so I already have like knowledge of how the scientist is getting it into solution, but the scientist is claiming that they have some kind of special process of how to. Does that make sense? Where like they think.
Okay. So before your NDA signing, make sure you document that somewhere and keep it somewhere
Yeah.
for
Okay.
yourself. Put
In
it
the
up.
just an email or something, or
You can have it a record, like some timestamp record with the witness, or like on a web, on like some Google Doc or some doc or some your company thing that says these are the steps I have taken. This is what I think. This is my IP. Simple as that. Okay. Have it timestamped during your NDA, during your talk. If it comes up that both their way of making matches, then you tell this person, this is what I had come up independently without your knowledge, and I want to show it to you, and I'm proving it. Don't come to me later on.
okay, yeah. So just making sure that it's like documented and timestamped.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Before you sign your NDA, document all the things that you think can be of conflict. Do it, like, don't leave anything for chance. Get it somewhere in your data room, and then once you signed your NDA, that's when you're like, okay, your own level playing field, both of you can discuss. And that you want, at the end, you want their product, right? You want to have their so even that NDA is for some time, and then by that time you could, like, not advisable, not something that I would do. People, like, hypothetically, what happens is people reverse engineer in the sense they put some linkers, some tag or something extra, and they get a separate patent for things. That would happen even when you are selling that licensed product. The end user that you are being selling to will realize if it is too expensive, they'll do something design around it. So how easy is it to design around? If it is really tough to design around, then it's worth you licensing it.
Yeah. And then can I ask you one more question?
Sure.
Yeah. So my other question is like, how common is it to have a licensing fee versus like just a royalty?
So universities normally take a licensing fees upfront, little bit, not too much. The reason being, you don't know what will happen to the technology later. If it's a private person or a company or whoever your inventor you're licensing from, what the entity is, licensing fees should not be too much. It's like when I was an institution, we would be happy if we can get our patent fees from the initial license fees. That would be our rogue game main expectation is like if we can get paid for our patent cost or the regulatory cost, that should be good
It's
enough.
a nominal kind of fee. It's not like a bonus kind of,
Yeah, and then later on, it depends, right? So you have to understand they would want 2x or 3x times the amount of money they have spent on it. You have to calculate that part and how they are going to get it, right? So university would aim for 2x or 3x. Sometimes if it's a good technology, 5x or 10x, depending on that. So for that to reach the amount of money that we have spent, right, from the timing, the hours, the reagent, and the money spent for building the technology, we would want that to be given from the licensee. So licensee, we would not take everything at upfront. So we would take just like anywhere from 5,000 to whatever the patent costs are. Like if we would not even take patent costs in the very first go. We would take them in the sense of, okay, just license it for now for like minimum 10,000 or 5,000 from us. And then when you hit a milestone, we want the patent cost within 6 months or something. Next milestone, when you're selling this, on that royalty. So break it into milestones. Don't, so your license agreement should be all in terms of milestones. Never just outright upfront things don't work well.
okay, thank you. I appreciate the milestones tip there as well.
Sure.
Thank
Happy
you.
to help.
I think we've reached the end of our time, but luckily we do have Mahi here. If
Sure.
other people have more questions, I want to say thank you so much, Dr. Kumar, for participating in our Lunch and Learn. And I thought it was very informative. And I think people can reach out if they have further questions or speak to your colleague here. I do want to tell everyone here, there's a couple other Lunch and Learns. We have 3 more coming up for February, March, and April. And hopefully you all will be able to attend. So thank you again. And
Thanks a
I'm
lot
going
for
to
the
stop
invitation.
recording. Thank you again. Have a great night.
You as well. Bye bye. Have a nice
Bye.
day. Bye.